As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
Hey guys, I hope you guys are doing well. It's so nice to see everyone. You guys got what head Betty, near bedhead Betty, somewhere in the. Have you guys seen those new little bubble like action figures everybody's doing with AI? We'll have a whole line now. We could do a bedhead Betty, a machete Betty, a jailhouse Betty, Betty for president. Good day. Let's get the coffee pouring. Oh no, I'm not drinking any coffee. Not this late. I had a horrible time sleeping last night. I've been on the road since like 4:30, 4:45. Well, we had, as soon as I got here, we went out and I couldn't even eat like anything hearty. I had to get like salad because I just, when you don't eat like all day, no. So it's been quite the exhausting trip. But I have to be honest with you. I asked you guys to pray for the trip. And up until like an hour out of where my destination is, I had I even went through freaking Atlanta at noon. I was expecting it to be, wall to wall traffic backed up like it always is. And I got through there, honestly, in a breeze. I was very, very, I don't know what else to say. Very impressed. I got, again, Betty, results came in all clear. They got it all. Yay, Panda Bear's mom. I don't even usually see a lot of chats, so it was meant for me to see that, Panda Bear's mom. Aw, thank you. I'm glad you told everybody. Congratulations. I know that's what I tell everybody when they, because we've had a few of our audience members have scares. And they're nervous and whatever that case may be before they go to the doctor. And it's like, well, in this case, you did have something, and they did catch everything and get it all cleared up. But that's why I say don't worry yourself sick. Don't worry yourself sick, and keep yourself busy. Cook a bunch of meals, freeze them, throw them in the freezer, because you never know what the news is going to be, and maybe you're going to get it, be depressed. But don't let it suck everything out of you, because they're, find out what the best course of action is. So very good. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, Justin, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. I'm exhausted, as you can imagine. So Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Car Guy, hugs and love. And I saw Andrea in here. It's nice to see you all. And then, of course, our beautiful mods. Don't forget to tell our moderators, thank you for all their hard work, because they make our chat, very, very lovely. It wasn't always, so nice in our chat. And because of their work, we have a good list that don't come in here and bother us anymore. So God bless them and all their work. I'm surprised we don't see bone, instead of fingers on them. But they do such an amazing job controlling the chat and making sure that you guys have, a safe place to express yourself one way or the other. We just don't want people that gaslight people. We're kind of focused really on one side of things, because we've looked at everything. We've looked at it. We've exhausted just about everything that we can possibly exhaust. Now it's time to get down to the truth. So I've been on the road all day. Like I said, since like 4:30, 4:45 this morning. And I get here, I just want to get caught up. I for the first time, which I don't normally do this ever, is I listen to music for the first time, all the way from Florida to where I'm at. Just listen, bebopped right along with music. And I usually listen to podcasts, do work, that kind of, stuff that I can do while I'm driving, and do it safely. So I listen to usually podcasts, or I just, take the time to really think things out. So if for any reason, we have a case and I just need to think and process the case, sometimes I just keep it quiet and it'll stay. There's been a solid year I haven't listened to music. When I'm in the car and going for the long trips, I'm just processing the case, processing every aspect of the case in my head, going back and forth, one of those kind of things for the drive. But this one, I actually listened to music. It was pretty chill. Not a whole lot of traffic. It's just a pain because it's like a day lost. I'm completely, utterly exhausted. And I get here and I start thinking, what's going on? And so, one thing leads to another, leads to another. I'm seeing all these BlipBoards and all this stuff. And I'm reading some of these BlipBoards and it's like, okay, shots fired, So now we're looking at these BlipBoards and they're obviously throwing shade to someone. I'm addicted to reading. No. Well, I just popped in here and I'm like, oh my gosh. Whoa. Like there's no mistaken, really what is going on here. And it sounds like something, just on an outsider looking in, it looks like something happened. Maybe there was some progress on At Night's side that has started leading down a different road, because these things are pretty, they're not blatant. They don't call any specific person out, but they're definitely addressed to someone. And we can Google y'all. I know, I saw that one. And everybody watching this case, right? we know what that means. But the people driving by these BlipBoards may actually read it as Google it. They may Google Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers and start learning about the case and start learning about the players of the case, right? It's a small group, right? This is the good thing is hopefully new people will see his face out there somewhere. But I gotta say, it's sad that it's funny, but it's not funny, because this is a serious matter. This is truly a human being. This is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, and we have to remember that first and foremost. But it's starting to become, for me, a very obvious, what happened, to me. It's very obvious what happened. And it's been obvious to me for quite some time. But, you still have to go down all the rabbit holes. You still have to look at everything. You still have to, make sure that nothing is missing that could change, what the leads and facts are saying about a case. So while I think they're catchy, They're catchy. I think all of us just needs to remember um, that this is a, this is a boy, and I'm glad that they're doing these BlipBoards. I do think that by the stuff on them, I think that they're going to um, bring attention. Even if it's a few people, maybe somebody saw something. That we know that these people went from Hendersonville to Memphis. Even when the mother left, where did she go? She went to Horn Lake, Mississippi / Memphis with her husband, saying she was looking anywhere and everywhere. Well, why would you be just looking in the areas that your own husband was, and doesn't make realistic sense for anybody else to have done anything with him? Like the answer really did kind of say it all, and I don't think she intentionally meant it like that, but I mean, we're just looking anywhere and everywhere. Why Horn Lake? The only person associated with Sebastian Rogers that was in Horn Lake was your husband, ma'am. That's always like what you want to say. So it's a little. It was weird from the beginning. I think all of this stuff coming in, but let's just look at it, because I'm sure you guys have seen this all over the place, because I've seen it all over the place just in the little bit that I've been here. So there it is. Let me put this up on the big screen. I cried, you lied. And what it says on here, let me just back it up just a tad bit so you guys can read the whole thing. And this is a post from Hong at Night. And it says, this is dedicated to Chris Proudfoot. He will see it on his way to and from Horn Lake until we bring Sebastian home. He will see it on the way to and from Memphis. He will see it to and from Nashville. Wow. So that's pretty significant. That's pretty significant. And this is where the shots fired really came from, right here. That is what makes me feel like they've uncovered something that's leading some type of direction, because you guys know that at Night and Dog's team, when they first came in, people were like, reach out to them and tell them everything that you know. And it was like, no, because everybody needs to find the information. If they're anything like me, which I have to think that they're more, because they're an intelligence agent, you can't just take people's word for it. You have to do it yourself. I know that as well as anybody else. So there's no point in me, biasing them in any way. They'll get to where they are supposed to get to when they get there. But this seems like a true change in their prior behavior patterns when it came to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, because they've been always on the side of caution and always proclaiming or acknowledging that they believe that he's still out there, he's being hidden somewhere. So I feel like more information they've uncovered, but I don't know what. That's like the mom from Netflix documentary Into the Fire. She put a billboard right outside the unaliver's home. Well, you know me, if I was allowed, I was going to start raising. I had already talked to my audience about this. I was going to start raising money to have a, like a Gabby Petito. Remember that Gabby Petito cutout that they had out in front of her house of her? I was going to do something like that for Sebastian. That was my idea, like way back in April of last year, but I couldn't get out here. My car kept breaking down, and then it cost me $6,000 to get, no, $4,000 at that time, $4,000 to get the car, repaired just to get it in drivable condition. And so that went the whole budget on, any kind of type of cutouts, because I knew they were going to be taken down daily. And they're like, I don't know, $200 a piece. So I think that, yeah. I mean, I was prepared because I knew that I read the laws here. So I knew I could have gotten littering, like a littering violation and a fine. So I was already prepared if I was going to do that to accept the fine. I don't really argue when it comes to law enforcement, except when clearly they're in the wrong. So I think, yeah. I mean, that's what was done. I can't remember who did it. I can't remember who did the life size cutout of Gabby, but they did. And then the city of Northport, which we had a good communication with, we had just really revamped this whole memorial for her out there on the roadside, and the city of Northport, instead of just reaching out to me, which by the way they did have everybody had my number there because we were always constantly communicating with law enforcement and everything while we were there. We wanted to make sure we were safe, they were safe, everybody was safe, and tell them, we kind of gave them an update on what we were doing for the day, blah 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 blah. So they knew us. They knew the numbers. They took all of our numbers in the police report when JLR was attacked by that crazy guy from a street over wanting to get his 15 minutes of fame. And they ended up taking that after we had left. They didn't ask us to remove it while we were there, which they should have. We would have complied. We wouldn't do, we would have complied. Because me, if I want to make a point and I have to pick it up, I'll pick it up every single day and take it right back out there every single day and set it up and pick it up every single day. And because I don't litter, I don't do any of that. If that's what they wanted me to do, I would have done it. Whatever. Just as long as they don't, stop me from making my demonstration. So that's the way it was. And I ended up having to go dumpster diving to get her stuff. We had just set it up, and I couldn't believe it that they went out there and picked it up and threw it in the dumpster. I raised holy hell inside that city of Northport, their city building. I mean, you heard me coming a mile away. I was not a happy camper. And I'm like, this is, Gabby, I cannot believe you would do this. You would throw Gabby. And that's what I kept saying. I can't believe you would throw Gabby in the garbage. I wanted to make sure that they understood what they did, anyways. So long story short, we've got the I cried, you lied. There's a whole montage of these, billboards or BlipBoards that are going out. And I read somewhere that BlipBoard is matching dollar for dollar what at night posts. So BlipBoard is actually contributing money and signage for Sebastian Rogers. That to me is absolutely 100% amazing. I heard that the Phillies are backing the whole, I'm finding this out. I've been working, yesterday I was packing all day. Today I was driving all day, so it's been absolutely just a blur. So I didn't realize all this stuff was going on, but I got here and I'm just wanting to know what's going on. And I'm reading this. So there's several of them. We'll go through them because I know they're all on Hong's site. But before we do, I want you guys to hear this. And then we'll come back to the major statement that Hong has made. But this is Lauren from Facebook. I really like her stuff. I really like her style. Let me see if I paused it, but let me see if I can get it to play. Hold on. Where's the sound? Can you guys hear?
Playing
There.
the neighbor Bobby's interview.
Okay, here, let's listen to this.
Playing the neighbor Bobby's interview. And in that, she makes a statement that one of the cameras caught Sebastian looking through the window. Now, she didn't say Sebastian, but she pointed out it would have been his bedroom. Do you know if there's any truth to that? Do you know if, Sebastian was caught on somebody's camera that night in that type of format? Or
I will tell you that they have now flip-flopped this silhouette in the mirror or in the window as Sebastian. It never came from, I don't know if it came from Sebastian's room or the dining room, but either way, it was after Sebastian had already reportedly went to bed. It was around 11:30 at night. At the time, Katie Proudfoot says she was going to bed. So I'm sorry, but deductive reasoning would indicate it was most likely not Sebastian. But that's how they twist these words. That's how manipulative this crew of people are in disinforming their audience to turn around them there and use them as pawns, saying everybody else is lying when they are being manipulative and lying to their audience about the truth.
Identified to be Sebastian?
I'm not going to talk on that. That's part of an ongoing investigation. That if it is or if it isn't true, I mean, and how would Bobby know?
Right.
That's a better question that maybe some people should ask. How does somebody who thinks that they know as much as they know? I just don't feel that she knows as much as she thinks she knows.
Right. And he was 5'5". 5'5's the height on the. Okay, so that's good.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
But, hey, so obviously,
Okay, let's go to the next one. Because these are all in order. That's what I love about her.
Sneaking out. Where was he going?
Right.
And was it with anybody else that we don't know? You know what I mean? Like, it's just wild.
Well, we didn't have the opportunity to have a cell phone in our hand and be talking to people across the street or the neighborhood. We had
True.
the cords that were stuck to the wall half the time. Hell, I mean, we just barely got cordless.
Well, I just wonder because, Sebastian was seen in front of his window, right? That night.
His silhouette was seen.
Oh, Miss Bobby doesn't know what she's talking about.
So, like, was he looking out at somebody or something? So many questions.
It's
Yeah,
scary,
so many
just all the
questions and-
possibilities.
Yeah. I mean, with that being said, I'm looking forward to the airing of the America's Most Wanted.
Sneaking out. Where was he going?
Right.
And was it with anybody else that we don't know? You know what I mean? Like, it's just wild.
From Texas Roadhouse to the trash out, so on and so forth. Sebastian was in his room. She was in the kitchen, I guess, getting, whatever done. And from her house, she's close enough to where she can see from the Ring camera, like the lights inside. Because it's dark. So, I mean, if you have lights on, you can see it. And so she said that she could see the lights in the house around 10 or so. Then Katie told her that Sebastian was in his room. She was in the kitchen. She said, "You need to go to bed." And he said, "Okay." And she goes in the living room and does whatever, watches TV. She says she was studying. I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. She was in the living room for whatever reason. And she told my neighbor that she fell asleep. And
Say that again. You broke up. Say it again. You broke up.
This punk, and she yelled across the house and said, "Sebastian." And he said, "Yes, Mom." And she said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm good. Go to bed." And she said, "Okay." So she gets up, and my neighbor said you can actually see his light go off, her walking across the house, her light go off, and then a silhouette come up to the window for a minute, and then everything just goes black.
What time was that again? Because you cut out.
I'm sorry. I know my son was calling me. Okay, so she woke up around 11:30 is what she told my neighbor, that she woke up about 11:30, and apparently he was still up. But I find it odd because my thought is, and again, none of my business, I just think, okay, put yourself in that position. If I have a child who's got special needs and I hear a thump, I'm going to walk into my child. No, let me put it this way. My kids are all very healthy and normal. I'm very blessed to have very healthy kids. But if it's 11 o'clock or 11:30 at night and my kid has to be up at 6 the next morning, I'm going to be in their room yelling at them and taking their electronics away and telling them, "Go to bed now." I would be walking in my kid's room. Even where my kids are now, healthy and average children, whatever, no problems. If I heard a thunk, I'm probably still going to go in their room and ask, like, "What in the world was that?" I wouldn't just stay, but hey, maybe she trusted him. Maybe she thought it was no big deal. I don't know, whatever. But that's what she told my neighbor. And then she goes to bed.
11:30 though. Let's see, that information is not really out there. We keep hearing 10 p.m. kind of deal. Put him to bed. Hear the thump. Are you okay? Good night. 10 p.m.
Right.
But this is what she told a neighbor.
That's right. That's right. And when I asked my neighbor, I called. So she told me this Monday. And then when the sheriff's office came by her house to do the same door knocking thing and walking around.
Okay. So there you guys have it. The whole thing about Miss Bobby not knowing what she's talking about. They threw her under the bus because she knew a lot more than probably she should have. She was a nosy neighbor. She knew people. She's lived in the community her entire, the area her entire life. She knows everybody. And she was provided information that she knows to be true and credible. And every time she said something, it threw shade on Chris and Katie. And then all of a sudden she became chopped liver. And they tried to, get her on the phone, record her conversation, get her into saying something about me, and then dropping that to throw shade on her and try to use it as some type of bait for me to go after her. Like, these people are psychologically messed up. Like, they really, I can't explain it. But obviously, Miss Bobby does know what she's talking about. my suggestion would be start going and listening to some of her. I know she's had several interviews with people, and I think even that one that was leaked of her speaking, you guys should go listen to that. There is, hindsight prepared a video that she enhanced. She didn't alter it in any way. It just blew it up and worked with the filters on the image as it was. And you could see somebody carrying something across that common area. And then Miss Bobby also indicated that same exact thing much later, after hindsight had already created the video. So it is clear that there is multiple places that have something large being taken out through the common area into a vehicle. And so seeing something like this from at night, it has me very concerned about what has transpired over because I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody. I haven't had a chance to get caught up on anything. I haven't even had a chance to watch YouTube videos from other creators that may have new or updated information, because people do have connections with some of the neighbors. And so they do, under confidentiality, leak some information to these creators. I haven't even had an opportunity to see if there's been any new information on that front coming in. I just happened to go over here and start seeing the BlipBoards, and as I'm reading the BlipBoards, I see this, and I'm like, this is a double take, because this is completely different from their prior stances on the case. This looks serious to me, and it makes me wonder what they may have unearthed or uncovered, because they have been, I can tell you that mine and At Night's theory have been, opposite from each other for a while, and they're exhausting all different avenues. But we started seeing those BlipBoards, and those BlipBoards appear to be, saying some things, which reminds me, let me just go over here real quick and let me pull up all the BlipBoards. There's some creative BlipBoards here. I know they did one that had like all of them. I think it's on this one. Funny, not funny. Funny, not funny. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Funny, not funny. I think he's good gracious. Okay. Oh, there's one. Oh, shoot. Sorry. There's one right there. It says Google it, y'all. And I assume that is in PA, possibly. Here's another one, and it says proud question mark, not for long. Oh. This one says still laughing. Was I too much? They're hitting, this is a change. I have to be on. Oh, here's some. He told you, tell us. She told you, tell us. Google it, y'all. It looks like that's where they're putting everything, I guess. I don't know if that's what that is. I didn't check it out too well. What are these? He told you, tell us. Oh, this is probably the same one. She told you, tell us. Okay. So we have definitely I Cried, You Lied. That's the one I got my title from. But I think that might be all of them. Or I thought there was more. I thought there was more than that. But I guess that's it. But my biggest concern is the change, directly asking Katie, did you look at him in his eyes before you did it? And it just, I don't know, it sends chills up my spine. Anyways, that's really all the talking points I have tonight. As you guys know, I'm here for court, so I'm not sure. I'm going to be hit and miss on when I can come live. I just found these things to be interesting. I'm pretty sure that, the social media might be running a little wild because these are starting to be more directed, accusational type of things, so to speak. They're not really accusing any particular person, but we kind of know who they're geared toward. And then to have that statement to Katie, it just seems like there's been a change of heart, just to say the least, from at night. And with this change of heart, I just wonder if they received some type of credible tip that leads them down a different road. I'm curious to hear more. So I'm sure if there's anything there, we're going to be hearing it over the next few days, next few weeks, or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. God bless each and every one of you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. I'm glad you guys got to hang out with me for a little bit. I wish I could stay longer, but as you guys know, to get to where I'm going is about 13 and a half hours from my home. And it's just a very long drive. So I'm exhausted. I love you guys. Have a good night. And we'll chat tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. We'll probably do a normal show time, potentially. So 10 a.m. Well, 10 a.m. my time is now 11 a.m. the previous time. We'll figure it out. We might do it at 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's at 10 o'clock, because I'm in a different time zone. So, all right, guys, I love you, and we'll see you soon. God bless.